And I think that so often people don't realize that they're like, they keep doing the same things. And they're like, well, why is nothing happening? I'm working hard. I'm doing it. But you're doing the same things. And if you keep doing the same things, nothing will ever change. You got to get out of that comfort zone.
The internet has made it easier than ever to start a business. Succeeding on the internet, now that's another story. The big question is, what are those who are succeeding doing differently? This podcast has the answers. Hi, my name is Lisanne Murphy. I've spent the last 3 years running a successful advertising agency. I noticed with certain clients, I ran into the same problem over and over again. Their offering was just not grabbing the prospect's heart and wrestling them into purchasing submission. Why? Many of these business owners were so far down the road in their journey and so in love with their product, they forgot who they were serving, missing some essential steps along the way. So, I'm pivoting focus. Join me as I go behind the scenes with the most brilliant entrepreneur minds to demystify the nitty-gritty marketing hacks needed to be successful before spending thousands on advertising that ultimately separate the internet legends from the dreamers. On the previous episode, you heard from Doug Boughton. Doug shared his story of how he went from broke and tons of college debt to creating 6 figures in just a few weeks using affiliate marketing. He is now teaching thousands of entrepreneurs how to do the same. You have to check out this episode. But stick around, I've got Jeffery Banek on right now. He's going to blow your minds with his story of how he became an entrepreneur and is now creating record-breaking funnels for bigwigs in the industry. So keep listening to hear the whole thing. Welcome to the Marketing Matrix podcast. I'm your host, Lisanne Murphy. I am so excited to be here today with the wonderful, the one and only funnel doc, Jeffery Banek. Jeffery, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's exciting.
I love it. I want to take a second to introduce this powerhouse of an entrepreneur, and I'm going to give him some time to tell his story and just blow our minds with how he's changing the world, especially the funnel world. So Jeffery is a 4-time 2 comma award winner. So, and for those listeners that don't understand what that is, that's an award given by ClickFunnels to people that have generated over $1 million in a funnel.
Right.
He is also an 8-figure award winner. So that means he's done at least 10 million in a funnel. He creates funnel ecosystems and has generated over 21 million in under 2 years.
It just is actually December was when we launched our agency. So right now is our 2-year anniversary. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
So, I mean, this guy, like he moves product, he moves money, and he moves entrepreneurs with what he does. So we are so excited to have him today. So Jeffery, I would love for you to share a little bit with listeners, like how did you become the funnel doc?
Well, believe it or not, it started out with fitness. I had, it's crazy. I've had a whirlwind life and many opportunities, but not to get too much into that, but I was a personal trainer. And I had this vision in 2010 of the first ever online personal training app before apps were even invented. It was all customizable, all this. One day I'm telling one of my clients about it. He's like, hey, do you like your job? And I'm like, yeah, what are you talking about? He's like, well, how about this? You quit, I'll give you a salary and I'll pay for everything and we'll split it 50-50. I'm like, okay, let's do this. $100,000 and a year later, we're getting ready to launch this software. Little do I know, my partner had really only allotted like $100K in his mind for the project, and we already like at $115,000 at this point. So we haven't even marketed, done anything, and that's like another 100, maybe even $500,000 for new software to be able to get people to understand it. So he just writes it off. He has that much money where he's just like, I'd rather take a loss on it than go all in and put another 100 grand or 500 grand in it. Writes it off as a loss, and we part ways. And I'm sitting there trying to figure things out. So I decided that I'm going to start learning marketing for fitness. Like I want to run my own business, my own boot camp, my own, personal training studio, that type of thing. Because I've been doing fitness for like 18 years now. I mean, literally like 18 years. I ran gyms. I've ran UFC gym. I've ran all different types of things. I've had high level personal training. where I was, for me, back then was incredible. I was making like $80 an hour, which I thought was, wow, I would thought I was crushing it back then. But yeah, so I'm learning all this. And while this is going on, I'm learning from a guy, he's my mentor named Bedros Keuilian. And one day Bedros holds up this book from some dude named Russell Brunson or something called like .com secrets, or I don't know, but Bedros says to read it. So if he says you read it, right? So I read it and it was, wow. Like I'm getting goosebumps talking about it literally right now. It was like, for those who've ever seen The Matrix, this is the only way I can really describe it. It's like when Neo was able to see the Matrix and he could see everything in the numbers. It's like, that's how all of a sudden funnels and sales felt for me. Like literally it was a life, as silly as it sounds, that book changed my life. It all made sense. Upsells, downsells, webinars, self-liquidating offers, everything I'd been learning all came together. And I'm like, this is the future. Funnels are the future. Before you know it, within the next 3 to 5 years, funnels will be everywhere, and websites will only be like information portals. Like for instance, if you go to Coke, you can't buy a Coke at Coke's website, but you can find out everything about them. You know, that's what websites need to be. They're information portals. They're not used to sell or get leads. That's what funnels are for. I'm like, this guy, Russell Brunson, he knows his stuff. I'm going to sort of like, let's be honest, I'm going to let him do all the work, and I'm going to ride the coattails to some degree of his greatness. And I see what he's going to do. So I'm like, I got to do it. So I go all in the ClickFunnels group. This is in March 2 years ago now. It was roughly, when I joined, I want to say about 35,000 people at this time. And I'm like, well, I have to learn this ClickFunnels thing. So we're buying every program he is. I've signed up for ClickFunnels. I'm spending hours in the group just helping people. Like if any questions come up, I answer it, or I go find the answer, because I figure if I can answer any question, I'll then somewhat have mastered ClickFunnels, you know? And of course, I'm buying every product. I'm watching every video. We're maxing out our credit cards just so I can absorb as much Russell Brunson. I'm like literally falling asleep on the keyboard listening to Russell, waking up and hitting play again. You know, I mean, like I am that much into this ecosystem of ClickFunnels. And so time rolls by, and all of a sudden, I first decide that, you know what, I have to go all in. I have to make a commitment that this is my path, and there's like no turning back. So for those that are watching, that's when I first got this tattoo.
Oh my gosh, it's a funnel hacker tattoo.
Yeah, I got this before I ever got an award. This was like my commitment to myself that I was either going to do something great in ClickFunnels or be some weirdo with a ClickFunnels tattoo. And thank goodness it was the former, or the previous one and not the latter. But so I'm in this group, and I'll never get those. I love those Facebook memories popped up the other day where I actually called out Russell Brunson literally in a post. I forgot I even did it, where I'm like, Russell Brunson, learn my name because I'm going to be something in ClickFunnels. Like literally, I didn't even know, I forgot I'd even done it. I'm like, that is the greatest ever. Thank you, Facebook, you know? But yeah, that's when I got this tattoo. I called them all out. I told them that I'm going to do it. And I was in the group just grinding away, doing everything, learning ClickFunnels. And then all of a sudden, about a month later, they announced the group had now, mind you, this was from March to like June-ish or so. The group had grown now to like 72,000 from 35,000, like doubled in size. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they announced the top 10 contributors to the group. And out of 72,000 people, I was the second highest contributor in the group. And the cool thing is I screenshotted this, and I didn't know it at the time, but the 5th ranked person was Julie Stoyan. So like, you know, I went back and saw that image, and I saw her name because like back then she was on the uprise too. She wasn't the Julie she is now, you know? And I was like, wow, I'd even outranked Julie when it came to group contributing and stuff. So then all of a sudden, literally like 2 weeks after this comes out, again, this random dude named Kevin David is like, hey, I need help with my funnels. And since I'm so active in the group, everybody's like, tag me, Jeff will help you, blah, 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 you know, all that type of stuff. I reach out to Kevin. He's like, well, what's your resume? And I showed him some funnels I'd made, nothing major by any means, you know, nothing like anything like I've done now. And do you know Ryan Dice and Digital Marketer? Are you familiar with them at all? so I had their certifications as well, their top level certifications. I'd gone through that. So I showed him all those. I showed him this, that I got the second highest contributor. I'm like, I got a tattoo. He's like, well, dude, if you got a tattoo, you're in, man. Let's do it. So right about this time too, as this is happening, about a week, maybe probably 3 weeks prior to this, I'm grinding away on the keyboard. My wife leaves at 9 o'clock to go to work like she does every day. She's a manager at Starbucks, supporting us through this whole thing. Like, I have side jobs here and there, but nothing that you could call like consistent or even an income, really. You know, I do personal training occasionally, make a couple $100 here or there, but mainly she's like carrying everything for us. And I'll never forget it. I'm working away and she leaves, and like 30 minutes later, she comes back. She's like, and she comes back in the house and she is just bawling. Like, I mean, like, babe, I'm like, what happened? Tori, what happened? What happened? She's like, I got fired. And mind you, we're less than paycheck to paycheck. We have no savings, no nothing. Like, like I said, we've been maxing out the credit card. So to lose, like, we're bad position, like really bad. And like rent's coming up due is like due the next day. Like we're counting on her paycheck that was supposed to be that Friday to pay rent. That would have been a couple days behind anyway, because I mean, mind you, I don't take pride in how my finances were back then, but that's the truth of where it was, you know? And so, and here's the crazy thing, the way she lost her job is the night before, they had been throwing out the food, because if they don't sell it, they throw it out. They don't donate it. They don't do it. They literally throw it away. And one of the girls working there is hungry and goes, hey, can I have one of the muffins? And Tori, not even thinking about it, was like, sure, go ahead and have a muffin. One of the girls that were there didn't like her that night, calls corporate and reports her for theft because they were not paid for the muffin. She's fired for theft the next day. Yeah. So imagine all this happening. It's all crazy. I don't know what to do. It gets so bad. Like, mind you, like I said, this was about 3 weeks and we're like, we don't have any money. Like, we're like literally having to get help from the government for food and stuff. Cause like, I could go get a job at McDonald's making $9 an hour or $8 an hour, but like, I just can't. I couldn't do that. And I didn't see that being the way to get out of this hole, is to go spend 40 hours a week at McDonald's at $9 an hour. I just didn't see that as the way to get out. So yeah, we're grinding away. About 3 weeks go by. Kevin puts us in. Another 2 weeks go by of negotiation. So we're like 5 weeks now without, and rent's like behind now again. So like, it's really bad for us. So Kevin, I'll never get it. We negotiate and he's like, I'll pay you $6,000 to build out my complete ecosystem, the funnel, the email, the messenger bot, all that stuff built out. And I'm like, heck yeah, I'll do it, no problem. I'm like, we're gonna pay the bills. I mean, it got so bad, we literally had pawned my wife's ring so that we could pay rent coming up. And the sad thing was, rent was $1,200. It was $800. Was all we could get for her ring at the time. So we were still $400 in the hole. Like, we still need to come up with $400 more just to pay rent. So this was like a godsend. I was like, this was, first of all, for someone that, you know, really like some of my best years, like I made 80 grand 1 year, but it's pretty much normal income, like 30 to 50 grand, you know, like the mean income for most people, what they make. So you throw 6 grand at someone, like, that's a lot of money. Plus we're in such a dire strait. It's like, baby, we're paying our bills off. We're going out to Red Lobster for dinner. This is, woo, we're, you know, like, we're excited. This is great. So needless to say, we built it out, launched that approximately about 30 days later. And then after we launched, 57 days later, we'd done $1.2 million in sales. And at that time, it's the fastest anyone had hit $1 million in sales using ClickFunnels. So that was the beginning. Then the next thing happened is, because Kevin had the record, they were at that point trying to do this viral launch thing where they had the squirrel and the gold digger, and they were bringing all these top influencers from all over the world into Boise, and Gary Vee was giving a presentation for these people. Well, ClickFunnels wanted Kevin to be there because he was the record holder. You know, even though I built everything, it was his funnel, his course, you know, his stuff. So they wanted him there. And as a testament to the amazing guy Kevin is, he's like, I'm not going to go unless Jeff can go. And ClickFunnels was like, sure, who cares? Whatever, like, but still, like, he didn't have to go and do that. And so because I was able to go and I started getting recognition as the guy that made everything there. I started meeting all these people. And I'll never get, mind you, this is the first time I'd ever been to like a conference or anything like, I'd never been to anything like this. And what do you mean it's not normal for Gary Vee to be 20 feet away from you and you get to take a picture with him and all that? That happens all the time, right? That's cool. That's normal. No, that's not normal. So, that's what I expect. So, but here's the cool thing. Do you know Akbar Sheikh at all? Do you know who he is? Okay.
Yes, I do.
At this time, I'm seeing this growth start to happen because of Kevin, and I need some mentorship. And I'm seeing Akbar, I'm seeing what he's doing. I love his give message and everything. And I just think he's an amazing dude. So I'm thinking of like going and hiring him potentially as like a mentor to help guide me through everything that's happening because of all the success. And I'll never forget, we're sitting during the presentation with Gary Vee. And while he's up there cussing away, which is the funniest thing because I'm watching Russell during this, and every time Gary would drop an F-bomb, Russell would be like, oh my, like it literally would hurt him to hear that you'd seen like cringe. So, but anyway, I'll never get, Gary's up there. And I look across the room, and it's Akbar Sheikh is across the room. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is great. I'm going to talk to him about, potentially working with him and guidance and all this stuff. And then it was the most amazing thing ever. It was like it was all gone full circle. And I'll never get sitting there and seeing Akbar and then looking to the left of him, and it was Bedros Keuilian, the guy who had started it all, who had shown me .com secrets, and had taught me all the sales skills that I use in funnels today, was there. And then I went up to him after Gary's presentation was over, talked to him, explained how I didn't follow him. It was amazing. He invites me and my wife to his VIPs to his fitness business summit in San Diego, which we go to. It's another amazing time, another story. We'll talk about that. Then, because of ClickFunnels, I get to set the Guinness Book World Record with Bedros. He's on my team and all these other amazing people, and Kevin, for the Guinness Book World Record for the largest ever human bubble soccer game. They had rented out, those big inflatable bubbles that people run in each other's with. Well, we got 50 on 50, all these top influencers. They actually had real Guinness Book come down. They did it all official like, and I even have like a plaque back here that has the actual, we were awarded the Guinness Book World Record. So I'm now, because of ClickFunnels, not as all this amazing transformation, but I'm in the Guinness Book World Records because of them. So
that is so random and so amazing.
It is. It's so like where I used to read it as a child. I never thought that I'd ever be in there. You know what I mean? So that's a godsend. And then Kevin asked me, hey, would you like to do my second funnel? Which his first one's blowing up. He's like, has a Shopify course. That one he pays me $10,000 for, which again, still is a lot of money at that time. That one goes a little slower. It took 6 months to hit $1 million for that one. Now, the first one has now done in just over 2 years now, I think it's right around 14 or 15 million for the first funnel. And the second one hasn't done as well. It's only like at 6 or 7, So, and then recently, we just had some amazing launches. I had a guy that I've been working with. We launched his course with no ads, nothing but he had an email list that we had generated for him. We made it for him, 16,000 people on his email list, and an Instagram following of 55,000 people. In 7 days, we did $844,000 in sales in 7 days. That's my second 2Com I'm getting, because that one will be getting. Then I have another guy that I have a yoga program for. He's done over $1 million now in sales. And then we did a launch it's been about a month and a half ago for another client. Then it took a little longer, but in 30 days, they did 300,000 sales in 30 days. So these are amazing things we've been doing. And now I've literally gone from where I had to pawn my wife's ring to pay rent to where we charge, between $40,000 to $100,000 for a complete funnel ecosystem now because of the results that we're able to consistently get with people. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey. And now I'm here on your podcast, sharing it with the world. So
that is amazing. Jeff, thank you so much for sharing that and for just being real about where you were and not being afraid to celebrate where you are. It's amazing. I love it.
Thank you.
So what was the point where like, I mean, because I mean, you went from desperation to like figuring out this world and just the opportunity that was there. Like, when was the moment where like you realized this is huge? Like this is going to be my, I mean, you talk about like getting the tattoo and stuff, but like, was there like a specific moment where you're like, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. This is the goal that I want to reach.
So one of the pinnacle things was when Russell saw my tattoo, and during he had Funnel Hacker Radio episode, or Funnel Hacker TV episode number 7, literally calls out my tattoo and sort of makes fun of me. But I think one of the most, it's crazy. I hadn't thought about it until you'd asked that question. Like, when did it really start setting in? Like, the recognition and the awards were one thing, but you still have that self-doubt. Like, like, was it real? And I think since then, since I've been able to do it again multiple times now with multiple other clients, which is crazy because, mind you, we've had successful launches, but not as successful as some launches I've been tying myself to now. And I think that's mainly because I've now have a point now where if I don't see something I know is going to be a winner, I don't put the Funnel Doc brand on it. Whereas before, when you're starting out, you're almost doing anything, and you're learning and you're making mistakes and you're losing money and all this different types of stuff. So, but I think the real point, which was just probably like 4 months ago, was being able to do it again with other clients and it not just be like a one-hit wonder, because no one's ever said that to me, but to my own mind, which is weird and could be just me, because they were both with Kevin, I was always, well, maybe it's just Kevin, maybe it wasn't me, and no one's ever said that. No one, probably the first time maybe it's ever been said is here, and it might all be my mind, but I doubted myself. And, now that I've had multiple other successes, that's when it really, when Ryan, my yoga guy, called me up and said, hey, we hit 1 million. I think that was about 6 months ago. It was when it was like, wow, okay, I can do this. And then we had this amazing launch with Larry. We did 800,000. So it's only been recent, which is crazy to think because, I've got an X award technically before that happened. I got the X award last year, and it was only 6 months ago that I really believed in myself enough that I was like, yeah, you got this, which is crazy to say. There's been a lot of, your mind is your worst enemy sometimes for all of us, no matter where we are on our journey.
It's so true. Well, and I also think that like when you look at your journey, I mean, you are using time frames that are so small. I mean, you're saying like 2 years is essentially this journey, and like 4 or 5 months ago, you had this realization. Like, it takes a while for your brain to catch up with what you're really trying to do.
It's been a crazy journey too, because one of the things that entrepreneurism does is it puts that mirror in front of you as you're growing and really makes you look at some of your own demons and reflect upon who you are and where you're going and what you represent. And especially when stuff happens at this fast of a pace, because one of the things that in the transformations I had to realize was that the Jeff that started this journey 2 years ago, a year ago, is not the same Jeff that I am today, and that I had to make changes and steps to be able to become the person I am now. And I think that so often people don't realize that they keep doing the same things. And they're like, well, why is nothing happening? I'm working hard, I'm doing it, but you're doing the same things. And if you keep doing the same things, nothing will ever change. You got to get out of that comfort zone. So I think that's some of the things that like people don't realize sometimes.
Oh, I love that. So I would love for you, like, if you could speak into what are some of the demons that you have faced in this journey?
Well, self-doubt is one, because it happens so quick too. I mean, realize, like sure, I'd been doing sales for 18 years in the fitness industry, and every time was like one of the top salesmen in the industry. Like literally, I was always top sales guy. And all I did was basically take my sales skills and turn them into funnels, where if I was trying to sell something to you right now, we'd go back and forth. We'd have dialogue. I'd be able to overcome objections. That's why funnel research is so important, because I learned that dialogue, those objections, and then put it in the funnel. So it's like we are having this conversation, but it's inside a funnel now. And that's how I'm able to make the transition from fitness to this, is because I just took the skills I'd learned on being a good salesman and translated them into researching, now being able to apply them into the flow of a funnel and in the email follow-up and the messenger bots and all that type of stuff. But as far as demons, man, is it some things as silly as, I'm a gamer. I love video games. But when you look on there and it shows you how long you've been playing it in the last month, you've literally done a day and a half worth of time. As an entrepreneur, you look at that and you're like, what could I have done in my business if I had not spent that day and a half? So demons like that, demons like getting back into fitness again, because as an entrepreneur, you're sitting at the table, at the desk for so often, and we have to think of ourselves as mental athletes to some degree. Because realize when you start getting up in the high levels like I am, to some degree, without trying to be boastful, this is like, like I'm a professional level athlete at of the sport of funnels, it is. And we have to be able to get our minds and bodies and attunement and align with that. And if you don't think of yourself like that, you'll never be there. You will never be there. You have to be able to realize that to make a funnel that does $1 million, to be able to run a business that does millions of dollars, you are a high-level athlete in business.
I love that. That is a powerful, powerful insight.
So, but yeah, demons, man, I really think one of the things that I recently have been able to get over for some reason was procrastination. And Russell's got it too. We all do it as entrepreneurs. We're like, oh, it's due next week. I got plenty of time. And then you're like 2 days between the deadline, you're staying up till midnight to get stuff done, So that's one thing now, since I've got a whole team built out and we've got everything is now, I'm not able to procrastinate because I have people relying on me, which is an amazing thing that I'm able to now hire people, give them and their families income, it's so crazy. And I think that all this has happened in the last 2 years. Before, if you talk to me in fitness in that world, my greatest dream was to, other than that app that didn't work, of course, but was to have my own gym, or maybe my own, fitness studio, maybe make $100,000. The average person, if you're making $100,000 a year, you're crushing it. That is crushing it for the average person. If you had told me back then that I could be making $10,000 a month, $100,000, $120,000 a year, I would have been like, boom, I don't need nothing else. And not that I do now, that's still a ton of money, don't get me wrong, but we do considerably more than that now, and you got to think, when we're putting out systems that make $1 million, is paying someone $100,000 to make $1 million a bad investment? Not really. Most people think paying 10x return is pretty good. So, but that's the thing. It's like, this is a different world. I'm dealing with different levels of entrepreneurs. People this is crazy. Did you ever watch American Idol back in the day?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Simon Cowell fan over here.
Okay. So do you remember Justin Guarini, the guy who got second the first season? I made funnels for him. I have a testimonial from him on my page of that guy, Justin Guarini, telling what an awesome funnel guy I am. How crazy is that? I would have never thought that. There's opportunities going on left and right. It's just amazing. But, no matter what and how good things sound for me now, I want anyone watching or listening to this to really realize that the only reason I am where I am now is because I went all in and committed and did not dab my toe. If you dab your toes in, you'll never get anywhere but just surface level. You might do okay. But if you really want to impact and make a difference in your life and other people's, you have to be willing to go all in.
Oh, Jeffrey, that is straight gold. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I found that in my own life as well. I love that. Okay, so like again, like when we're really looking at this, like your business, even though you've had some amazing experiences, like it's still in infancy. So
Oh yeah.
where are you going? Like what are the goals that you have now, like having already had the success that you've had, and you've already built out a team, and you're
Yeah.
helping people at a really high level. Like where are you going?
So, well, I'm having to redo a course because my other course that I had launched got bought out. I can't actually talk about it. I have a legal NDA that I cannot discuss, but someone actually bought my course from me. So I'm relaunching another course on January 1st, which is my birthday. Actually, January 1st is my birthday, called Funnel Labs, which teaches people how to create the whole ecosystem. Because I find that's one of the problems. Like people teach funnels, but then they like, how do I hook it all together? Like what integrations or third-party software do I need to use to make all this work? So not only does Funnel Labs teach you funnels, obviously, but it teaches email, messenger bot, how to combine it all together so that you have a full ecosystem, sort of no matter what your product is, whether it's an e-com or info or whatever, local business, whatever it is. So that's one of the next steps. And I'm in April going to have a mastermind. I live in Las Vegas, so we're going to have a mastermind. This is going to be a little higher level mastermind, but it's literally in 4 days. I'm going to have it to where you can come in with a very bad funnel or no funnel at all. And the first days we're doing the first section is literally learning funnels. The afternoon is applying everything you learned and actually building your funnels out that afternoon. I'm actually having high-level funnel experts will be walking around during the 2 to 3 hours while you're building out your funnel. So if you need help, you just raise your hand and comes over and helps you out. Like the next day is going to be traffic. I'm going to be teaching about Facebook ads, YouTube ads, and then for paid, then for organic, we're going to be learning Dream 100 and Facebook groups. And then you learn all that in the morning. In the afternoon, you're going to learn how to apply it. I have a video team that's going to come in. We're going to be shooting your Facebook ads. We're going to be writing your copy. Literally, the next day you do emails, messenger bots, and you close out. So literally, in 3 days, you're going to come with nothing and leave with a whole ecosystem. Ads, funnels, email, like everything. So that's in April. And
It sounds like a party.
yeah, oh, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I'm actually renting out a mansion, and there's only 10 people will be able to come, but you'll be staying in a mansion, and then dinners, breakfast, lunch, and dinners will be catered or paid for as part of your thing. And then dinners and lunches you're going to actually get to have with the speakers that will actually be, and so you'll get to be able to talk with this. And then I've got this thing, sorry, I don't mean to get on a tangent. I'm so excited about this, but I got this one thing. It's called speaker speed dating. Mind you, there's only 10 people and there's about 10 speakers. So you're going to have time that you're going to be able to sit down with a speaker for, I haven't set a time yet, maybe 5 minutes, maybe it's 3 minutes, but you get to ask them whatever you want. For 3 to 5 minutes, you get to sit down one-on-one and actually engage with some of these high-level influencers and speakers I'm going to have. So like, it's going to be crazy. I'm super excited for it.
That's amazing. So moral of the story, you're going places and doing things.
I'm doing my best. You know, beyond all that though, all that's great and selling things and making money is great, but beyond that, the impact I've been able to make I haven't done as much as I've wanted. One of the things you've asked about demons before, one of the demons I feel like I've left over the last 2 years a lot on the table as far as being able to be impactful for people. I don't think that I haven't done enough. Period. No matter what it is, I don't feel like I've done enough. Like that's one of the things. This is weird for me to say on the show, but I feel like in the last 2 years I haven't done enough because, like for instance, I went to Steve Larson's Offermind, which is an amazing event. Did an excellent job, but I was there, and every meal, someone came to me and was like, "Hey Doc, can I take you out to dinner? Can I take you out to lunch?" Which some people might think that's weird, but for me to have people that care enough about me that they want to take me out and pay for my meals just to be around me, like, sorry, I'm about to get choked up, but that's like crazy, like that you're impacting people. And I feel like I've done so little and still having impact. I've had people come up to me and tell me like out of nowhere, "Hey, I don't want to bother you, Doc, but I just want to know what you've done. You've impacted me so much that you've literally changed my life." I had a guy that I was talking to at Offermind, and we're talking about his business and how he went from rags to riches. He was doing real bad, The year before last, he did 100,000. This year he did 400,000. We started talking about his business. I started going, you know what, you did great, but you're in the wrong business. We start talking about how it needs to be restructured, that what he's doing doesn't need to be him showing people. He needs to teach people what he's doing and make a business out of it. Next thing you know, I'm getting an email from him. Hey, Doc, guess what? I'm doing everything you said, and my business is blowing up even more than it was before. I mean, where do you get stuff like that from? Like, I could have never got that in personal training. I mean, I helped a lady lose 100 pounds once, and that was amazing, but you just don't get that type of fulfillment. And, you know, before all this happened to me, my greatest thing, no matter what you believe, whether when you die, whether you believe in God or energy or whatever, you're only here for a short amount of time. And my thing used to be like, I would be like, hey, when Jeff's gone, I just wanted people to be like, hey, he was a good guy, and we miss him when we saw he's gone. But now with this amazing platform, the internet, and everything that's been given me, we can impact people and change people's lives for long times after we're gone now. Like, we do not realize how amazing the time we're in is. So that's one of the things that, you know, I have to do more. I want to impact more people. I want, as silly as it sounds, I want more people come up to me and tell me that I've changed their life.
I love that. That's the real payoff, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, that is like, money only gets you so far. I mean, like, you can only buy, I mean, you can buy whatever you want, but like for me, like, you only need, I'm very low maintenance type person and things like that, you know, but to like have people come up and tell me that like I've changed their life, because here's what you don't, here's when you really think about it, what people don't realize, when one person comes up and tells you, there's probably at least 2 or 3 that haven't come up and told you. And then how many of those people now, because their life has changed, how many ripples have they made? And ripples have that made? So that one person that came up to me, for all you know, that could impact hundreds of people, thousands of people, who knows?
Like, yeah, well, not to mention, like, think of all the people that Kevin David has impacted because of the funnel that you built. I mean,
it's like, so
it goes out really far.
It does. Like, I'll never forget. Kev is an amazing guy. We're in Puerto Vallarta. I'm doing his NinjaCon event. As the first event I get to speak at is in Puerto Vallarta. I'm sitting there talking about ClickFunnels. I have this lady come up to me, tell me how first of all, I'm my worst critic. So I'm thinking my presentation was terrible. You know, I'm beating myself up. This lady, Waylene, comes up to me afterwards and she's like, oh my God, your presentation totally just changed my life. It impacted me. And then like 3 months later, she sent me a message like her business is all blown up. So yeah, it's just being able to impact people and being able to make a difference now, because that's what we've been given. We've been given a platform to be able to like reach out, and people want to hear us. So that's my thing now too, with beyond my business, is I want to make even more of an impact in the world.
I love that so much. I love it. Oh man, Jeffrey, you are just like pulling out the stops for us. I really appreciate that. I want to change directions just slightly. You said something in the beginning of our interview that I'd love to dive into. You said that you don't take on a client unless you know that it's going to succeed. Right. Which I've been there. Like as a social media agency owner, like I've been to the place where like you'll take anybody, but it's hard when you have a feeling like I just don't think this product's ready for ads. And then you do it anyway, and it's just a bad situation. But anyway, so I would love for you to go into like, what are some of the key indicators that tell you if this is going to work?
Well, first of all, if something is the first of something, I sort of run away from it. Like it could blow up, don't get me wrong, but that's like the hard, because like it's like a 1 in 100 or 1 in 100 or 1,000 type deal. You know what I mean? So if something's the first of something, even if it sounds like it could blow up, there's a good chance I'm going to stay away from it, just because you're rolling the dice. Like the reason why there hasn't been anything done with it, because it might not be good. It might sound great, but it doesn't. So if someone's bringing something in and it's already it pretty much needs to have some type of proven system already. They have to have sales. They don't have to have a lot of them, but they have to have sales to show that people want it, or they have to have a huge following or traffic, something like that, to where we can, hey, if you've got 100,000 people, we can do something with that. You know, like you've already sold 50,000 of this, but you want to take it to 1 million. Like I can come in and do something with that. But if you just had this great idea and you need me to help build out every aspect of it, that's not really what we're going to do. You know what I mean? Like, even if you get the $100,000 package, which is like us doing the video, like we do everything for that. Like, we literally, the way I explain it to most people, we have two packages. We have the 40,000, 100,000. The 40,000 is we make the Ferrari for you, but we give it to you and you have to race it. You have to change the tires. You got to do everything else on it. The 100K version, we build you the Ferrari. We're going to take you to the track. We're going to change the tires. We're going to show you what you need to do. We're going to make sure that that Ferrari wins. You know what I mean? So that's the difference of the two packages when it comes to funnels. But that's the thing. I don't put my label on something that's not going to succeed or that doesn't have longevity, because I just am in a position right now that I can't afford to not have a successful product. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's literally point now, like, if I put the Funnel Doc label on it, it needs to do $1 million. It maybe not on launch, but it needs to do $1 million. And if something doesn't have that traction, it's hard to generate that. Not that it can't be done, and it could be huge when it happens, but there needs to be some, like Kevin, he wasn't the first person to ever make an Amazon course. There was like 5 or 6 other Amazon courses out when he made his. You know, there's a proven market. People were demanding it. He had a following. It wasn't as big as it was now. He had one video at that point that had gone viral, had 200,000 views on it, which was still great. But that was it. Like, it's nothing like it is now. So that is the indicator is there some type of momentum already behind it that I can come in and just basically pour gas on it and light it on fire?
That's awesome. So for someone that has an idea, what suggestions do you have based on your wealth of experience? And you've read .com Secrets. It's like your Bible. You've read it like 6 times. Like how do people prove their offer so they can get to a point to know that it's ready for a funnel even?
You have to ask your audience. That's one of the things. I've had multiple clients now that come to me. They're like, Doc, I got this amazing, for instance, okay, I had a client come, he's a vet. And right now they have this thing called compassion fatigue syndrome, where they're working with the animals and their animals die. And they're like, the people with, it's a very high stress job. So they're getting on, so he's like, I want to help vets. So he brings this course in. So I'm like, well, hold on, before you build out this course, let's see if vets are even interested in help in this, you know? So we start doing ask campaign, going into different Facebook groups. Hey, vets, are you interested? Is this a problem? And we found out that unless you have a certified degree, like you're a degreed professional, vets as a whole don't want to talk to you when it comes to psychology and things like that. But the vet techs were super interested in this. So we make all of a sudden a switch it over. Now we find out our audience is actually vet techs, not the vets themselves. Start finding out all out. See, but that's it. If we just gone after his initial premise, oh, vets need it, vets want it, built it all out, launched it, it would have been crickets. Thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars lost. Instead, we do it the other way, find out who our true audience are. Now we're able to do all the proper research to be able to do the proper funnel and make the course for them, and a success.
I love it. That is such an amazing example. I really, really appreciate you sharing that.
Of course. But it's huge. Do not assume. That is the one thing, especially in course creation. Build an outline and then find out if that outline is what people want. Because here's one of the things I was with when I was interviewing Josue Pena the other day. He's a friend of mine, does Instagram. And he said one of the things he had to do first was he had to give people what they wanted and then gave them in follow-up what they needed. Because too often people don't know what they actually need, but they know what they want. So your offer sometimes has to be directed that way. Hey, I'm going to give you what you think you need over here, but in the back end, I'm going to actually give you the help or service that's going to get you what you really desire.
Wow. We could like take a little clip of that right there and like just make a whole episode out of that. That's amazing. I love those tips. Those are really, really powerful. Okay. So I wanted to give you a second, like if people want to follow your journey or get into your world and see what you're doing, you want to tell listeners about how they can get in touch with you?
So yeah, one of the things is you can go to funnelsyndicate.com. One of the things I'm doing right now is my goal between now and Funnel Hacking Live is I want to help 100 people make $100 using affiliate marketing. So in this, my funnel syndicate, I'm teaching people how to sell courses like Kevin David's, proven courses, because here's the thing, people need an influx of money quickly. You sell Kevin's course, sell one of them, you make like $400 or $500 for each sale. You sell 3 of those a month, that's like $12 to $1,500 for the average person. That's a decent side hustle right there. And then the second part of my course is actually called The Vault. It's totally free in my group. You get totally free because I want to help these people make this money. But the second part is ClickFunnels, because you get that residual. So you do courses on the front end to get a huge bump in the middle, and then ClickFunnels as residual, so you get monthly income. And yeah, that's my goal of that group, is to help 100 people make $100 between now and Funnel Hacking Live. Of those 100, I want 10 of them to make at least $1,000. And of those 10, I want at least one of them to make $10,000 with what I'm teaching between now and Funnel Hacking Live, which is only like 60 days away. So yeah, so you give me a Funnel Syndicate, or you can just check out my Facebook group, Funnel Doc. Type in Funnel Doc Facebook group, you'll find it. So
I love that. Well, we're going to put those links in the notes to this so people can access that. And for the listeners, he's also giving a set of funnel templates. So we'll drop that link as well, which we're really, really excited. And thank you so much for your generosity in being willing to do that. So I always end with this question. And you've talked into this a lot already, so I'm sure that you'll just continue to blow our minds. But we've talked about some of the external accolades that you've received. I mean, you've got two comma plaques behind you. You have that Guinness World Book of Records, like you're meeting incredible people. And you've also talked about the demons that you've had to overcome. My last question is, what behind the scenes transformations have occurred for you on this journey?
So this is crazy. So like, I used to be, for no reason, I don't know why, I had great upbringing, great life and everything, but I was very angry. I was that dude that if you cut me off, I would, and like flip me over, I'd like go in the parking lot and try and fight you or something. Like I was that guy. I know, like the guy who I always, like, it was always about me. If you cut me off, you're the bad person, you know, like you're not that, you know what I mean? Like I was just that. And then as I've grown over the last 2 years, I've really had to be able to put myself in other people's shoes and not assume things and really take a step back. And it's been an incredible transformation, because I'm not that guy anymore, because that guy's a terrible person, you know? I mean, he got angry because somebody cut him off. That's silly. For all you know, that guy's on his way to work, or his wife's in the hospital, his mom died. You don't know what's going on in people's lives. And for you to assume that they're just being a jerk or whatever, like, come on. So I've had a lot of like personal growth as far as that, and becoming, really being able to look, one of the great things that I've been able to achieve in the last 2 years is now being able to look at myself and see where I need to make changes in my life. Like really being able to like be very introspective and be able to look at it from the outside and be like, hey, you got to make a change. You got to, you know what I mean? Where when you're in the daily life of just doing it, it's so hard, or at least it used to be, to be able to say that, oh, here's where you need to change, and this is what's going to make a difference. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think that's been the biggest change, is going from that anger state, which I don't know why I was ever there, but then also being able to become very introspective and being able to look at myself and being able to see myself and seeing what needs to be changed without being judgmental on myself to some degree, you know, where I'm not like, oh, you're a bad person for this or whatever, but hey, this needs to change. You know what I mean?
So powerful. I love that. Well, and for someone like I sat behind you at OfferMind.
Right.
And,
right.
And like we've gotten to know it. So I watched you interact with people there, and then I've had an opportunity to get to know you through this interview experience. And like when you say that you used to be an angry person, I'm like, what? Like that blows my mind. And so like that is so cool to like literally not even be able to recognize that could have been a part of you in the past. It's so powerful.
Well, I'm very humble and thankful for you to say that, because like, yeah, that was like, I mean, like I literally one time a guy cut me off and I chased him in a parking lot and fought him. Like, I mean, like seriously, like literally got in a fist fight. And that's amazing that like people now would be like, they can't even fathom that. So that gives me validation for the forward momentum I've been able to change in my own life. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Jeffrey, it has been a pleasure talking with you on the podcast today. You are an incredible man. You're offering incredible value. And I love that, like, despite the success, like, impact is what matters most to you. So thank you so much for sharing your story and your journey, and for teaching us a bit about what we need to do to be successful. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning into the Marketing Matrix podcast. On the next episode, we have Nathan Hirsch. Nathan is the founder of FreeUp, a freelancer platform that recently just sold. At the time of recording this episode, he was right in the middle of finalizing that deal. So we had some really interesting things to say about the selling process and what was important to help keep the company rolling and the employees safe during the acquisition transition. It was really, really cool. So keep listening into the next episode to hear all about it. And while I've got you, I wanted to remind you about the Marketing Matrix Toolbox. This resource has tons of free marketing tools to make your marketing journey easier. Remember, we add new content to it each week, so make sure to visit frequently. And check it out for instant access at toolbox.themarketingmatrixpodcast.com. And if you want to join the conversation surrounding marketing with me and the guests on the show, feel free to check out my free Facebook group. It's called Facebook Ads for Coaches, Course Creators, and Lifestyle Brands. This is an awesome community of people who are trying to master the game of ads and scale their business using paid traffic strategies. So hop over to that group. You can access it by going to www.facebook.com/groups/FBAdNinjas. All right, guys, that's it for now. See you next time on The Marketing Matrix.